This is Jen from Thread Honey, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the satin stitch. The satin stitch is a great fill stitch and an intuitive one if you're new to embroidery. Starting from the back of the hoop, pull your needle through to the front. You're going to create one satin stitch by taking your needle to the end of your shape and pulling all the way through. Next, you're going to come directly next to the stitch you just made and bring your needle from the back to the front. Pulling your needle again across the length of that shape, we're going to bring our needle through from the front to the back. We're going to be working this way, going back and forth, alternating where the needle will come in and go out from. If you prefer, you can start in the middle of your shape instead. I find that this can be especially helpful if you're working with an irregularly shaped object. So you would start from the middle and then go either up or down on your pattern. It can just be a little bit easier to know where your stitches will go, especially if you're doing something like a crescent moon shape or another circular shape. If for any reason you're finding it hard to pull your needle through the space where your last stitch ended, you can always just bring it around to the other side and then pull back. So instead of alternating from right to left, left to right, you could go right to left, right to left, right to left. The only problem with doing this is that it's going to be more bulky on the back of your hoop, so just be aware of that. If while you're working on your satin stitches, you see that there's a gap between the last stitch you made and the one you just made, you can always go in and add an extra stitch to fill in that gap. You can see as I make this stitch how the threads became a little tangled and loose. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen them up with my needle. And then from the back, I'm going to pull onto all of the embroidery floss threads so that it smooths out. With embroidery, if you notice any mistakes as you're stitching, it's easiest to go ahead and fix them right away as opposed to trying to fix them down the road. And that is it for the satin stitch. Full disclosure, this is not one of my favorite stitch techniques. I find myself trying to avoid it when I can. A couple ways, if you also are not a huge fan of satin stitch, to get a more clean line on your edges is to either do the back stitch before or after around the perimeter of your shape and then fill in with satin stitch. You can also do a raised satin stitch where you're using the back stitch to do that perimeter and then you're taking your satin stitches around it so that the edges are more clean. I can show those in a later video if you're interested. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're interested in more embroidery patterns, kits, tutorials, and supplies, you can visit my website at thethreadhoney.com. It's linked below.